Would you risk buying a Rolex outside of an authorized dealer? It might sound risky, but in 2025 more collectors than ever are turning to the grey market to get their dream watch. The grey market has grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry, offering immediate access to Rolexes that would otherwise take years to obtain through an authorized dealer. But with that access comes higher prices, hidden dangers, and strategies you need to understand before making a move. Let's start with buying on the grey market. The number one reason buyers take this route is speed. Authorized dealer waitlists for the most popular Rolex models, think the Submariner, Daytona, and GMT-Master II, are notoriously long. Some customers report waiting 5 or even 10 years for a stainless steel Daytona, and many never make it to the top of the list at all. On the grey market, though, those same watches are available instantly. The trade-off? You'll pay a premium. For example, a Submariner date that retails for around $10,250 is likely to cost $13,000 to $16,000 on the grey market. A steel Daytona that retails for $15,100 can easily fetch over $35,000 when bought this way. Beyond current production, the grey market also serves as the main gateway to discontinued and rare Rolex models. Take the Submariner Hulk with its green bezel and dial. Discontinued in 2020, its retail price was under $10,000. But today, grey market dealers regularly list them for $20,000 or more, depending on condition. Similarly, the Oyster Perpetual with discontinued Stella-inspired dials, like Tiffany Blue or Candy Pink, often sells at 3 to 4 times retail. Authorized dealers will never offer discontinued models, which makes the grey market the only option for collectors chasing these pieces. Another major factor fueling grey market growth is availability across borders. In some countries, authorized dealers get very limited allocations, meaning customers wait even longer. The grey market bridges that gap by sourcing watches internationally and bringing them to markets where demand outstrips supply. For someone in a region where Submariners are nearly impossible to get, paying a markup to a grey dealer often feels like the only viable path. Of course, this convenience comes with serious risks. Counterfeiters are producing fakes that are frighteningly close to the real thing. Some replicas now use movements that mimic Rolex's sweeping seconds hand and even come with forged warranty cards and boxes. A buyer without deep expertise could easily be fooled. That's why most serious collectors emphasize working only with well-known dealers who have a track record and public reputation. Buying from unverified online sellers or individuals on forums is where the majority of horror stories originate. In this market, reputation isn't just important, it's everything. But even when you do find a reputable dealer, there are things to watch for. Over-polishing, replaced parts, or aftermarket modifications can all lower a watch's long-term value. Some buyers focus only on getting a good-looking Rolex, without realizing that factory originality is key to preserving value. Grey dealers will usually disclose these details if you ask, but inexperienced buyers might not even know to raise the question. And then there's the matter of pricing transparency. On the surface, grey dealers might seem expensive, but often their prices simply reflect the real-world market value of Rolex. Authorized dealer pricing is almost always below what the market is willing to pay. Think of AD retail as the ideal scenario, while grey market pricing is what collectors actually pay in practice. That's why some buyers justify the premium. They're not really paying extra, they're paying the market rate for instant gratification. The reality is this: Rolex has built a demand machine that keeps authorized dealer supply intentionally limited, and the grey market fills the gap. For many buyers, the question isn't whether to use the grey market, it's how to do it safely. If you're finding this breakdown of how the grey market works valuable, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon so you're notified of our weekly insights into Rolex and the world of luxury watches. Now let's flip the coin and talk about selling a Rolex on the grey market. For many collectors, this is where the appeal lies. Rolex watches are not just timepieces, they're assets. Thanks to their strong brand recognition, limited supply, and global demand, Rolex models often hold or even increase their value over time. But here's the challenge. If you walk into an authorized dealer hoping to sell your watch, you'll be turned away. Rolex boutiques don't buy back pre-owned watches. That's where the grey market becomes the main outlet for liquidity. Suppose you're sitting on a stainless steel Daytona, purchased at retail for $15,100. On the grey market in 2025, that same watch can command $35,000 or more, depending on condition and box and papers. A dealer will likely offer you slightly less, say $30,000 to $31,000, because they need margin when reselling, but you're still making a significant profit compared to retail. That's why so many collectors see Rolex as a financial instrument as much as a wristwatch. The same is true for discontinued models. If you own a Submariner Hulk bought at retail years ago, selling it today could yield double what you paid. Grey dealers will happily buy it because they know demand far outstrips supply. But again, the seller rarely gets the full resale value. Dealers take their cut. That's why some sellers prefer peer-to-peer transactions, listing watches on forums, marketplaces, or even in-person meetups. While this can yield more money, it also comes with risks: counterfeit cash, fraud, and the ever-present safety concerns of selling a high-value item to a stranger. Another factor to consider is timing. The Rolex market, like any market, moves in cycles. During economic downturns, grey market values can soften. During booms, they soar. Selling your watch at the right time can mean a difference of thousands of dollars. Many experienced collectors keep an eye on market trends, holding onto a watch during a dip and cashing out when demand peaks again. But here's the truth many new sellers don't realize: condition matters. A Rolex that's been heavily polished, has aftermarket parts, or shows major wear won't fetch top dollar. Collectors pay premiums for originality. If you're considering selling, it's almost always worth keeping your watch unpolished and maintaining every piece of paperwork and packaging. A Rolex with full box and papers can command up to 20% more than the same watch without them. So, is buying and selling on the grey market worth it? The answer depends on your goals. If you want instant access to a Rolex model that would otherwise take years to secure, the grey market provides that, but at a premium. If you're a seller hoping to cash in on a piece you no longer wear, the grey market offers liquidity and strong prices, though you'll always give up some margin to the dealer. The key is knowledge. If you understand the pricing landscape, work with reputable dealers, and approach with patience rather than desperation, the grey market can be a useful tool. But if you dive in without doing your homework, it's easy to overpay, undersell, or worse, get burned by counterfeits or shady sellers. So, what do you think? Would you ever buy or sell a Rolex on the grey market? Or do you believe sticking with authorized dealers is the only safe path? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our weekly insights into Rolex, Seiko, and the world of luxury watches. Until next time, stay stylish and stay informed.